On today's episode of Anime Afterthought, ReZero Season 2 Episode 13, The Sounds That Make You Want to Cry. Well, there we have it. The first part of Season 2 is officially over. It has been one hell of a gut-wrenching, ridiculously nerve-inducing, emotionally devastating ride. And today's episode completely exemplifies that. I'm experiencing a whirlwind of emotions through this roller coaster of an episode. It's just, I'm still reeling from what I just witnessed. Now, before we do get into it, I want to make a correction to last week's video. Subaru was indeed experiencing the second trial of the sanctuary, experiencing the what happened next for every single death loop, until Carmilla did show up under the guise of Echidna to save him. Also, the other mistake is the difference between A and the. When Subaru was questioning Echidna about Beatrice, waiting 400 years, suicidal tendencies, never choosing that person, it was the result, not a result. She did not in fact predict it, but she was merely indifferent about the result. Still, to put little Beatrice through this test of free will just to satiate your curiosity, you really live up to your namesake, don't you? So with the corrections out of the way, let's go ahead and start today's episode. First and foremost, last we left off, we seemingly had a full roster when it came to the witches' tea party, with the other 5 witches being called into action due to Echidna's proposal for a contract between her and Subaru, with each witch stating their objection to the pairing. I mean, hell, armed with Return by Death and a wealth of the witch's greed knowledge, who wouldn't be tempted? But of course, everything begins to fall apart when Echidna starts monologuing. Even left with a sour taste in his mouth, Subaru is still contemplating the contract. Before any kind of contract is made, he still has one important concern: Beatrice. And upon learning that our little drill-head Lolly was part of a much grander experiment in free will, Subaru has chosen Beatrice over Echidna, foregoing the Witch of Greed's help. But out of nowhere, there seems to be a late arrival to the party, and it's not a true witch's tea party without all 7 in attendance. Enter Satella. Yes, the Witch of Envy has made her appearance. And this is where we pick up today's episode. Echidna seems quite miffed at the fact that she has made it there. It seems that this other dimension, this castle of dreams as she puts it, is in fact surrounded by barriers, which does lead me to wonder if they are in fact there to protect them from the Witch of Envy. They're doing kind of a shit job because Satella's right in front of their face now. But anyways, once again, Subaru is confronted face to face with the person who has put him through so much hardship, with Satella still proclaiming her love. With her hands reached out to caress his face, it seems Subaru has finally had it. I have had enough of you witches. Satella, Echidna, you are fucking insane. All of you, I'm done with you. I'll go this route alone. Now at this point, this pisses Minerva off and begins to take her digs, going in on Subaru's reliance of Return by Death, those left grieving in his wake, and calling out his overall mentality. Nothing else matters as long as you're the one suffering most. This go-it-alone approach, this twisted way of thinking, is more vile than a witch, a path that is truly ungrateful to her as she glances over at Satella. A statement that at first glance seems confusing, but makes sense later on once you learn Satella's true intentions. But Subaru is quick to fly off in a frustrated rage. Vile, ungrateful, what the fuck are you talking about? You did this to me. You pulled me from my world, gave me this power. What am I supposed to do? Would anything else be different if I had done nothing? All the pain, all the suffering, everything I've been through, that's my burden to carry. Satella once again begins to speak. Don't hurt yourself. Don't suffer. Don't be sad. Statements that begin to fuel Subaru with rage. You have the nerve to say this? The next words out of Satella's mouth are cut short due to Subaru jumping to a conclusion. So love. Something that he automatically assumes is once again her proclaiming her desire for him to love her. But the reality is much different when she begins to finish her sentence. So love yourself. These words truly shock Subaru. What? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Satella begins to repeat herself. Don't be sad. Don't grieve. Don't suffer. Love yourself more. Subaru is completely confused. What are you talking about? You're the one that gave me Return by Death. Well, Subaru, I love you and I want you to love yourself and protect yourself. But Return by Death is a sacrificial ability. It doesn't make sense. As long as I take the burden, I take the brunt, the pain, the suffering, no matter how bad I get beaten up, at the end of the day, as long as no one else is hurt, there's always a tomorrow. With a series of flashbacks going through his head, he finally focuses on Rem, recanting this is what happens when I don't step up, when I'm not on the front lines, when I don't put my life on the line. Bad shit happened. Rem is gone. A reflection that leaves Subaru collapsed due to the emotional distress. As he begins crying, Sekhmet is quick to call him nothing but a lonely little child, sitting there crying and wailing. Now the next scene is probably one of the most innocent yet adorably cute scenes, yet so badass. Teofone walks up to the now sobbing Subaru and begins to pat his head. What's wrong, Baru? Why are you crying? A completely sincere moment which turns to absolute fright as the next next scene is, who did this to you? And it seems this immense pressure is coming from this little witch. As the screen glances from witch to witch, eventually Satella walks up to Subaru, still hurtled over, and once again begins to try to embrace him, but at this point Subaru has had enough. He chooses the one thing he knows, something that Echidna is quick to pick up on, and in that moment he bites his tongue and begins to cough up blood. This throws Minerva once again into a rage. So that's the path you've chosen. She goes in to slug him, her fist having a healing effect, but is stopped by Teophone, and we see Minerva's arm shatter into pieces, much like Subaru when he first met her. But the scuffle does not last long. Minerva is upset. Subaru's choice involved self-harm and suicide, something that she just cannot stand. Also visibly upset with Teophone's interference. Why wouldn't you let me heal him? Baru has made his choice. As she goes in for another attack, Sekhmet jumps in, this gravitational pressure crushing Minerva into the ground. And once again, Minerva questions why. Not only does she side with Teophone, but she also emotionally relates to Subaru. As Subaru begins to wane from this world, he hears voices from his past. His father, his mother, Amelia, and eventually Rem. In an enlightening moment which finally makes Subaru reflect on himself. I don't want to die. I don't like pain. I'm tired of suffering. I want to live, but is there any real value in my life? What can I do besides die and die again? This is where we have some deep-seated shit, something rooted really in Subaru's consciousness comes forth. Question his worth as a human being, and in tow, the relationships he has with others. Can I really expect the people I like to like me back? Everything that you've been through with these people and for these people, you're still questioning whether or not they actually like you? These people literally have sacrificed themselves time and time again. Rem, Beatrice, fucking Otto was ripped in twain. But we know from the first Sanctuary trial that Subaru does have a lot of self-doubt, and it seems that that has carried over. But as the clouds begin to part and the sun shines through, Satella's voice once again echoes. You are the person who saved me, so you should allow yourself to be saved. A statement that makes both parties begin to tear up. Now, as Subaru was going through his little death experience, shit was happening back in this real world, and Echidna is quick to jump on this. Minerva, I'm not surprised by your actions. It's the other two I can't comprehend. Daphne is holding down Teophone, and her reasoning for helping and prolonging Subaru's life, well, you know what? He made a lot of big boasts to me. I want to see him back up his word. The more surprising is Carmilla. She actually used her authority, once again using Faceless Bride, and once again pulling Subaru from the brink of death. Echidna begins to question her reasoning. She goes, you know what? Love's important. I hate to see it squandered like that. Echidna begins to recap the situation. Sekhmet and Teophon honored his wishes. Minerva healed him. Daphne prolonged his life, and Carmilla showed him the love that he was not aware of. Every witch seems bent on helping Subaru. A very interesting aspect. Subaru seems to have regained his senses, completely confused by the reasoning behind the witch's help, and taking this opportunity to admit that he doesn't know what to do next. And once again, we get back to the thing that sparked the witch's tea party in the first place, the contract between him and Echidna. Subaru, if you take my hand, I will lead you to that promised future. With her hand reached out, Subaru's next statement begins to resonate and hit hard. And I think the truth behind Return by Death finally comes to light. Echidna, I don't like pain. I don't like suffering. I don't want to see others suffer. I don't want to die. And it seems sacrifice is a prerequisite for this contract. And it finally makes sense. Return by Death is not your power. It's your trump card. It's your in case of emergency. Satella gave you this power to make sure you live, not just to use it willy-nilly out of its convenience to reset, but no, you have to have value and worth in yourself. Only when you have used every last single option. This is a way to make sure you keep going. With this realization, I have to wonder, who the fuck is Satella? Honestly. Now at this point, Echidna is a little peeved. Her hand begins to go down as Subaru's like, you know what? If I have any value to the people I love beyond my death, for their sake as well as mine, I need to find it. Echidna reflects on Subaru's choice. The path you are going to take is a treacherous one. Truly arduous. Nigh nearly impossible. Killing off your humanity would have been so much easier, but to choose your heart and the ones you love, that's That's so greedy. Acknowledging and thanking Echidna for her help in the past, she decides to leave Subaru with a parting gift, a message about Garfield and his fears of the outside world. Since you definitely can't let Subaru leave with some kind of impression while all the other witches are good and I'm just evil to the very end. So with Subaru thanking the witches for the roles they played, of course not before calling them incomprehensible monsters, his attention eventually towards to Satella. With the realization that return by death is not his only option, he reflects on the situation. You know what? If not using return by death is what makes me love myself more, then it's not gonna be easy, but I guess I'll do it. As he holds out his hand to pick Satella to her feet, this dream world begins to crack. Satella once again reminding him that he does have others to rely on, and there are those that grieve his death. With the world now disappearing, it seems Subaru's time has finally run out. With their hands still coupled, Satella's veil begins to lift, as we once again come face to face with that so familiar face. But we're left with a very foreboding message. And one day, you can come and kill me. But our tracksuit hero has other plans indeed. Yes, I swear I will save you. My God, we're only halfway through the episode. This whole conversation was ridiculous. I mean, you do see a lot of the witch's intentions, but they're all geared towards helping Subaru. And Satella, this fanatical being that we saw in the real world, seems to literally be different from what I assumed. She's not just crazy in love, she seems to truly care about Subaru. Listen, return by death is a devastating ability, but I gave it to you to ensure that you would live. But it's not your only tool. Don't fucking rely on it. I don't want to see you in pain. I don't want to see you sad or suffering. To me, to a lot of other people, your life has value, so you should treat it as such. Just love yourself the way others do. Maybe Satella is not as bad as I think. I don't know. This is already one of the best mid-season finales I've ever seen. I mean, my God. And we're only halfway through. Back in the real world, Subaru has awakened to Patrice as well as Otto, my main man, stepping up this season. Once again, giving him a dose of that tough love. We see Otto does have an ability. He actually can speak to Patrice, and turns out this ground dragon actually likes Subaru. Reflecting back on the conversation he just had with the witches, oh, you're the first one that actually, you know, I can trust that actually likes me for me. As he proceeds to question why once again Otto is, you know, there. Dude, we're friends, aren't we? Like, that's what friends do. That's right, I do have friends. I guess, you know what? Let's get to it. Let's do this shit. Let's go back in the sanctuary and let's have some fucking fun, right? Cause, you know, I gotta save the fucking sanctuary. I gotta save my friends. And as he tries to re-enter the graveyard, he is bounced back and in turn starts to vomit. As he questions, wait, have I just lost my qualification? As he reflects back to his last interaction with Echidna, that sneaky little witch. Did she have something to do with that? Should she take his qualification? I guess there's only one other person I can turn to at this point. As we once again come face to face with Roswell, Subaru proceeds to ask him, hey dude, is there a way to, you know, get out of the sanctuary besides doing the trials? Because, Once again, we see Roswell tiptoeing around, you know, the fact that he knows that Subaru is manipulating time somehow. Oh, have we had this conversation before? It's quite weird. Have you already talked? It's like, we know what's going on, but he knows, but he doesn't know that Subaru knows. Like, it's a weird thing, like trying to slip into a conversation that you've never had, yet you've technically had. It's a weird kind of situation between these two. But once again, he seems determined to set Subaru down a certain path. No, there's no circumventing it. It's a very cowardly thing to say. I mean, you need to do the trials. I mean, if you truly loved Amelia, you wouldn't want to see her go through all this shit, so you need to do it. I mean, what do you think I've been doing all this shit for? I've been backing you into this corner since day fucking one, so you have to do it. I mean, there is other shit going on, isn't there? What are you talking about? You don't mean the mansion, do you? Well, I sure do, since I'm the motherfucker who got the goddamn orders. I don't know which one of you guys said it, but you said it. You said Roswell's probably behind the mansion. I didn't think he would go that far, but it looks like he's literally dead set on Subaru going down, you know, the path of Echidna. Throw away your heart, throw away your humanity, and you will be perfected. You'll be perfect. You will be able to make sure I can fulfill my dream. Bro, what the fuck? Everything that you put the mansion through, every single fucking loop was you? That was you? You hired fucking Elsa, the goddamn bow hunter? Mei Lee, the fucking mob beast tamer? Bitch, I saw Beatrice get stabbed in the fucking stomach and that was all you? Now Subaru's distraught. Once again, learning this fact, like, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? He begins to do the only thing he can. Like, he bends over and gets into a huddle. What the fuck's he doing? Oh, he's begging. He's pleading. Dude, call it off. I would love to do the trials. I'll do it, whatever you fucking say, but I can't. My qualification was revoked. Now, this does does initially shock Roswell because you know what? This must be all part of Echidna's, grand plan, her scheme. If we go to Echidna and, beg for help, she'll give you your qualification back. I mean, I know Echidna, I know what she's planning. So those two really are pushing Subaru to go down this path of throw away your heart. I mean, it's just the end results that matter. I do want to bring up an interesting fact that once again, this 400 years comes up. It seems that his grand dream, his grand mission is set in stone from 400 years ago. So wait, now what the fuck is Roswell? But like I said, Subaru at this point is just begging and pleading, dude, I can't literally do what you want me to do. Please call it off. No, motherfucker, I'm backing you into a corner. I'm gonna sharpen that resolve of yours. You're gonna turn into just like me. This is so fucking dark. So at first, you think Satella's a big baddie, and now she might be good, and someone who you thought was on your side, aka Roswell and Echidna, are trying to manipulate you into doing down this one path that literally throws away your fucking humanity, all for the sake of some grandiose plan or satiating their unquenchable thirst for fucking curiosity. Of course, this is once again gonna shatter Subaru. How many times does he has to fucking go insane? Delirious. The word is delirious. He's walking out in the forest just reliving everything he's been through once again. Roswell truly is a fucking monster. But lo and behold, out of the trees swinging in is MVP of season 2 part 1, my main man, best boy Otto, quite literally there to knock some sense into Subaru. Hey man, it's okay man, settle down. You know what, it seems you're having a hard time. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Literally punches the fucking dude and proceeds to haul off and slug Subaru right in the face. Yo, quit putting on a tough act in front of your friends. We got you, motherfucker. Okay, so this is how you leave off a fucking season. Part 1. I mean, the entire first half of the episode, this giant conversation between all of the witches was amazing. Each one was trying to help Subaru in their own way, yet still stay true to their ideals. Like, it was glorious. And then Satella, my God, what is the connection between her and Subaru? He saved her. She's been in love with him forever. Like, what is the connection? When she had nothing, he gave her everything. It's just, why is she so fanatical over him? It doesn't make any sense. I need to know. I need to fucking know. And then you have Echidna and Roswell's, whose goals seem separate, but their paths are parallel. They want Subaru to walk the easy path. Throw away your humanity. Throw away your heart. Walk down the path of sacrifice if you want this desired future. But it's something Subaru cannot do. Once learning the fact that return by death is not an end-all be-all. It's your in case of emergencies. I can't do that. I don't like pain. I don't want to die. I don't want to see anyone else get hurt. Or I don't want to see anyone else die. Yes, it might be selfish, but this is my path. This is what I'm choosing to walk. But confronted by the fact that Roswell's behind everything, including the shit going on in the mansion, all in an attempt to back Subaru in a corner to sharpen his resolve and make him perfect, a perfect tool, yeah, for your fucking dream. I understand why people were calling season 1 a prologue. I understand. Just this first half alone, I am emotionally devastated, physically exhausted, yet I've never been more excited for a series to continue. Why the fuck did they wait 4 years to get to a season 2? My God, this series is ridiculous. Where do we go from here? I have no fucking clue. Subaru seems resolved to keep each life as precious and alive as humanly possible, never relying on return by death, but with the ever-growing list of obstacles to overcome. What the fuck can he do? Especially since he has now another enemy who's so close to him, pulling the fucking strings behind everything. Everything at the mansion, everything at the sanctuary, and now Roswell to deal with. Like, I mean, Echidna was telling the truth. This is going to be a very, very bumpy ride going forward, but I'm hooked like a motherfucker. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about part 1 of season 2? Did you guys enjoy it? Do you love it? What do you guys think about the season overall, the series overall? Like, what do you think Subaru's next move is going to be? Is it just he's just gonna hook up with Otto and the others and just do like this super mashup of everybody just, doing their own part? It seems he's not gonna go it alone anymore and start relying on other people, but that means he's putting more people in the crosshairs for potentially dangerous situations. Like, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, with all that being said and more episodes coming January 2021, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.